Someone once lost $1 million and, in the depths of midnight despair, asked a fellow gambling addict, "I'm already bankrupt, penniless. Why can't I stop this urge to win it all back?" This question is a mirror, reflecting a dilemma shared by countless gamblers. It's not just a matter of weak-willed individuals, but a profound enigma rooted in human psychology, neural mechanisms, and societal structures. The devastation of gambling goes far beyond financial ruin. It's a mental tsunami that obliterates reason, emotional bonds, and social roles. Almost every addict, in the bleak dawn or midnight after losing everything, has sworn countless times, "I'll never gamble again." Yet, these vows are often fragile, crumbling under a complex interplay of internal and external forces. Inevitably, they slide back to square one, returning to the tables with even greater obsession and madness after losing it all. To outsiders, this seems like absurd, incomprehensible self-torture. But by exploring the hijacked reward circuits in a gambler's brain, understanding the potent force of loss aversion in psychology, and recognizing the invisible pressures of societal culture, it becomes clear this isn't mere greed or stupidity. It's a meticulously crafted death spiral of multiple chains, where escaping by sheer willpower is as daunting as scaling a sheer cliff alone. To unlock this cycle's first shackle, we must start with the brain's biochemistry. Central to this is the brain's reward system, driven by regions like the ventral tegmental area, VTA, and nucleus accumbens, which regulate pleasure and motivation through dopamine release. Studies using functional MRI, fMRI, show that gambling triggers dopamine surges far exceeding everyday pleasures like eating or chatting with friends, rivaling the highs of addictive drugs. Crucially and counterintuitively, the peak dopamine release often doesn't occur when winning money. Instead, it spikes in the seconds after placing a bet, during the suspense of awaiting the outcome. For many gamblers, the most intoxicating, exhilarating experience isn't pocketing chips, but the heart-pounding anticipation of an uncertain result. In other words, the brain generates extraordinary pleasure from chasing a potential big win. This neural mechanism creates a deceptive psychological illusion. The thrill comes not from victory itself, but from the pursuit. As long as another round or slot machine pull is possible, the brain anticipates and releases that euphoric dopamine, fueling endless fantasies. Even after losing everything, this neural hijacking drives gamblers to eagerly bet again, chasing that fleeting yet intense rush of expectation. Digging deeper into these psychological roots reveals why many gamblers, after losing everything, double down with reckless abandon. A dual withdrawal reaction, physiological and psychological, underpins this. On one hand, the intense neural excitement from gambling, when halted, causes significant brain dysfunction. This withdrawal isn't exclusive to drug or alcohol addicts. It's equally severe in behavioral addictions like gambling. When the stimulus stops, the prefrontal cortex, responsible for rational thought, decision-making, and impulse control, enters a crash phase, impairing clear thinking and judgment. Meanwhile, the amygdala, governing fear and anxiety, becomes hyperactive. This imbalance, one region suppressed, another overactive, triggers excruciating physical and psychological symptoms: unbearable anxiety, persistent insomnia, irrational irritability, and a hollow sense of emptiness. To escape this hellish torment, the quickest path is returning to the one place that temporarily normalizes them, the gambling table. At this point, they may be bankrupt and drowning in debt, but their desperate reality fuels an even stronger desire for a miraculous win to turn it all around. This craving, intertwined with withdrawal agony, forms an inescapable vicious cycle. Moreover, the brain's memory system plays a treacherous role in this tug-of-war. Human memory isn't an objective recorder. It's highly selective and emotional. Studies show that memories of winning moments are far more vivid than those of losses. Gamblers involuntarily glorify and amplify rare victories while subconsciously downplaying or rationalizing countless painful defeats, bad luck, or, if only I'd used a different strategy. Many recall with crystal clarity those thrilling moments of last-second comebacks, replaying the sights, sounds, and euphoria in their minds, convinced that one more push or a few more hands will recreate that magic. This is psychology's rose-colored recall, or euphoric recall. But the harsh reality is that casinos, from their mathematical probabilities to their environmental design, are far more sophisticated and ruthless than any gambler imagines. They exploit tiny statistical edges, amplified by human optimism, and wield the law of large numbers like a merciless scythe, systematically reaping wealth over time. Those cherished winning moments, when viewed against the vast data stream of countless bets, are mere fleeting bubbles in an ocean, yet they trick drowning gamblers into seeing them as lifeboats. At the psychological level, loss aversion, pioneered by Nobel laureate Daniel Kahneman, plays a pivotal role. Behavioral economics shows that the pain of loss is 2 to 3 times more intense than the joy of equivalent gains. Losing $100 feels far worse than gaining $100 feels good. When a gambler loses $100,000, that sum transcends its monetary value, becoming a psychological black hole, an overwhelming sense of lack that must be filled. This breeds an all-consuming obsession. I have to win it back, or I can't live with this. Like a spiraling vortex, this mindset pulls them to pour in more money to recoup losses. This is the sunk cost fallacy in its starkest form. After investing heavily in time, money, or emotion, people resist quitting, even when rational math screams to stop. Admitting past decisions were wrong or accepting permanent loss is often more painful than risking more money. So, they double down, banking on a lucky break to avoid the embarrassment, failure, and self-reproach of facing reality. Simultaneously, the illusion of control and deep-seated wishful thinking deepen gamblers' obsession, pushing them further from reason's edge. Even after losing all cash and accruing crushing debt, some cling to beliefs in unique betting systems, secret winning formulas, or a sense they've cracked the house's patterns. They think past failures were due to minor missteps and that studying algorithms or exploiting statistical loopholes will eventually reclaim their losses with interest. But whether in physical casinos or online platforms, the house employs models crafted by top mathematicians and data scientists, ensuring a small but stable house edge. No matter the perceived skill, gamblers face a mathematically proven, dominant system. A common deceptive tactic is online platforms offering new users sign-up bonuses or early winning streaks to create a false sense of prowess. As gamblers revel in these engineered short-term wins, the platform gradually tightens the screws with higher rake or precise odds control, ensuring heavier losses. Yet, those early wins make quitting harder. A darker self-punishment tendency often emerges in deeply addicted gamblers, a heartbreaking yet real psychological dimension. When someone is buried in debt with all paths seemingly blocked, they may adopt a nothing left to lose or gamble to the end, self-destructive mindset. Unable to afford basic necessities, they still find ways to borrow high-interest loans and pour this lifeline money into the abyss of gambling. The table becomes more than a place to chase profit. It's an anesthetic, a refuge from harsh reality. Clinical studies show that when debt exceeds annual income by tenfold or more, psychological stress reaches unimaginable levels, sometimes sparking self-destructive or suicidal thoughts. While part of the gambler's drive is the hope of a miraculous turnaround, another part uses gambling's intense, fleeting thrills to numb the overwhelming anxiety, shame, and despair. Each bet is a reckless wager against fate and a trampling of self-worth, with losses reinforcing their inner belief of being a failure, forming a tragic closed loop. This complex internal psyche meshes seamlessly with the casino's meticulously designed environment, pushing gamblers toward the abyss. Casino's most effective tool is psychology's intermittent reinforcement. Random rewards where you sometimes win, sometimes lose, making the behavior maddeningly hard to quit. They craft near wins that feel so close or suggest one more try could turn it around. Slot machines, for instance, use the near-miss effect, stopping reels just one spot shy of a jackpot, fueling the urge to try again. This applies to card games, roulette, and Baccarat too. Winning streaks spur bigger bets, while losing streaks drive attempts to break even. The house only needs to maintain its tiny statistical edge to secure profits over time. Modern online platforms take this manipulation to new heights with personalized, data-driven optimization. Using AI, they profile players based on betting frequency, amounts, session length, and even click habits, targeting psychological weaknesses. They dynamically adjust win-loss distributions, giving new or lapsed players sweeteners to hook them as steady profit sources. Another often overlooked but critical factor is the immersive design of casinos and online platforms. Physical casinos are psychological masterpieces. No windows, no clocks, lighting in a twilight haze, curated aromas, and constant chip clinking or slot machine jingles erase the sense of time. People can gamble for hours without realizing it. Online casinos take immersion to another extreme, enabling betting anytime, anywhere with no travel costs. Some addicts gamble all night alone at home, disrupting normal routines, neglecting meals, hygiene, or meaningful interactions, with gambling as their sole filler for emptiness and anxiety. Once trapped in this time vacuum, returning to normal life becomes nearly impossible. Societal and cultural influences are equally profound. For those in financial distress or lacking security, gambling is falsely seen as a shortcut to leap social classes or solve crises. In today's world of soaring housing and living costs with stagnant wages, some pin their dreams on lottery tickets, card tables, or slot machine reels, genuinely believing a slim chance at luck can lift them from poverty to financial freedom. Internet content glorifying gambling strategies or rags to riches stories, some framing high-risk gambling as alternative entrepreneurship or high-return investing, fuels unrealistic fantasies among the less affluent. Studies show lower-income groups often have higher gambling participation rates than the middle class, and losses plunge them deeper into debt traps, perpetuating generational poverty. Meanwhile, deteriorating family ties and social support networks exacerbate gambling's vicious cycle. Many addicts, ashamed of losses, hide their financial ruin from loved ones, weaving lies to spouses or parents. When the truth surfaces, often with unpayable debts or squandered family assets, trust collapses. Marriages dissolve, parent-child bonds strain or break. Left isolated, gamblers spiral into a nothing left to lose, so keep gambling mindset. This chain reaction, family conflict fueling stress and loneliness, drives them to gamble for temporary escape. So why gamble more frantically after losing everything? Decision science offers insight. When someone loses nearly all material foundations, their brain skews risk-reward assessments. To them, I've got nothing left, so why not go all in? Dulls risk perception. Some ignore that their betting funds come from predatory loans or shady means, seeing gambling as their only salvation, blind to alternatives like seeking family help, debt restructuring, or stable work. In this mindset, winning validates their strategy and luck, spurring bigger bets. Losing fuels refusal to accept final darkness, driving them to borrow and bet more. This cycle persists until all social resources, credit, and relationships are exhausted. This death spiral also reflects society's obsession with success stories and quick riches. Media and online content relentlessly promote rapid reversals. A news story of someone striking it rich via gambling or lotteries sparks widespread emulation. Live streaming platforms show that when big tutorials or get-rich-quick streams draw massive clicks and donations, while practical financial advice languishes. Some gamblers buy into a modern myth. With enough grit and belief, luck will favor them. Games like poker or blackjack, with a skill component, feed illusions of control. I can outsmart the game, or my luck can't stay bad forever, deepening their entrapment. Yet, the cold truth is that only casino operators and data-rich platforms consistently profit from this wealth-grinding machine. Countless tragedies, bankruptcy, broken families, suicides, repeat worldwide. Public awareness of gambling addiction's dangers lags far behind its spread. In loosely regulated areas, underground games and online platforms proliferate, with opaque rules and brutal exploitation, offering players no protections and little chance of turning back. The digital vacuum is worse. Mobile apps enable relentless betting, drowning any moment of reflection with endless promotions, game ads, and betting prompts.